Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Just a moment. I will get into position here. Okay, can you hear me and see me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi, Shabbat shalom. I'm Rabbi Aviva Bass.
I'm Cantor Jake Harris.
And we are coming at you live from Temple Sinai of Palm Beach County in Delray Beach, Florida. So welcome to our Shabbat service. Before we begin, I'd like to start a new custom, which is that I'd like to start with something good, some good news if we have any in our community. So we have two pieces of good news in our community this week. Actually, one was a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to share it now. One is that Leslie and Michael Eishen have a new grandson, Dylan Robert. And so mazel tov to the Eishen family. And to Diane Johnson's family, she has a new granddaughter, Gwendolyn Elizabeth Amy. So welcome to these new beautiful lives into our extended community, and mazel tov to everyone. So we're going to begin tonight with the candle lighting. If you have your candles ready, you can join along with me and sing the bracha as we light. Oh. While I am taking care of this technical difficulty, I'll just mention that those who are in our community, if you do have pieces of good news, please email me during the week so that I can mention them on Friday night during our service. Or you can give me a good old-fashioned phone call. That works too. Okay, let's join together in the bracha for the candle lighting. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlikner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat shalom. And now, Cantor Jake, will you do us the honor of making Kiddush for us and bringing us in with some song?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rabbi Aviva. So for our Kiddush, well, actually, before we jump into the Kiddush, I just want to say, echoing that, wow, mazel tov to all our good news, and please go ahead and forward that to us whenever you have some good news. I'll also be opening up the complaint department on the side, so you know my number. All right, so the Kiddush can be found on page 122 if you want to follow along with us in your Mishkan Tefillah prayer books. So, with our wine in hand, let us sanctify the drink. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ, וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים את יום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו. מכל הלך כל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. אמן. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. So I put a tiny bit in because I don't want to spill, but you fill your cup, overflow it. Oh, goodness. L'chaim to all those out there sipping the Manischewitz, and to those who aren't, l'chaim to you too. But hey, we got bottles here. A lot of bottles at Temple Sinai. I can't guarantee them to you, but just know that they're here, just in case. So we have some special announcements tonight, and we're switching it up a little bit, and I think you'll know why once we get to parts of the announcements here. So tonight's Erev Shabbat service is sponsored by Doreen Solkoff and family in memory of Jerome Ira Solkoff, Sandy Lehner in memory of her husband, Philip Lehner, and her father, Meir Cotton, Ronnie Richmond and Jay Hammerman in honor of their first wedding anniversary, Betty and Eric Adams and Lynn Weinstein in honor of Rabbi Aviva's birthday, which was last Thursday. Yom Huledet Sameach, Rabbi Aviva. And Iris and Hal Bass in honor of their beautiful daughter, Rabbi Aviva's birthday. And I think that they may just call her, but Rabbi Aviva to us, and happy birthday to her. And we are honored to be with her the weekend of her birthday. Our Saturday, November 21st Shabbat Torah study is sponsored by Sandy Lehner in memory of her husband, Philip Lehner, and her father, Meir Cotton, and Helene and Sidney Wartell in memory of Morris Tenser. The following donations to the community food pantries are sponsored by Leslie and Michael Eischen in memory of Irving Garber, beloved dad of Leslie Eischen, Sandy Lehner in memory of Philip Lehner, Lois Astern in memory of Bernard Edish, Andy and Seth Dinsky in memory of Shirley Dinsky, Larry Oken and Marcy Anshin in memory of Donald Oken, and Howard Cohn and family in memory of Fred Cohn. So we're thankful to all of our sponsors and those who made donations and everyone in our community. If you're just joining us for the first time, we are here in Palm Beach County in South Florida. What a place to be right now, especially if you come from the north. So, with the drinks sanctified and acknowledgments made where they need to be made, we are now going to sing. So, I would invite all of you, if you're following along now, to turn to page 142 for one that we all know, Shalom Aleichem. I hope wherever you're at, you'll sing. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. So, friends, we turn it back to Rabbi Aviva, who has a few words of kavanah going into our next prayer.
Yes, actually, this is not a kavanah as much as an inclusion of some of our special members who were not named last week when we did our special Veteran Shabbat, and I have learned since then of their service, so I want to honor them. So we have a few of them that I have learned of. Abe Friedman, who served in the Army Infantry in 1941, and he was stationed in Massachusetts and New York. Dr. Joe Goldberg, who was in the Army from 1967 through 69 in Fort Knox in Kentucky. Charlie Knopf, who was in the Army Reserves from 1970 through 1976 in various reserve units in New York and New Jersey. And Charles Plotkin, who enlisted and was sent to Delaware University for 3 months. And then at the young age of 18, which a lot of these men were, he went through basic training in South Carolina and then to a Japanese school at the University of Chicago to act as an interpreter for our first invading troops into Japan. And he says, that war ended just as my group readied for embarkation. Our group became part of MacArthur's counterintelligence group, seeking hidden war criminals. Very interesting. And he says one of his happiest memories was being a Passover guest in the home of a Jewish resident who was married to a Japanese woman. So there you go. I didn't even know that Charlie Plotkin spoke Japanese, much less that he was an interpreter. So you learn a lot of things when you speak to people about their past and their knowledge and everything they bring as members of our wonderful and diverse community. So thank you all for your service as well. Thank you to all our veterans once again. And so now I'm going to turn over our virtual bima back to Cantor Jake, who is going to start us with some song with Lecha Dodi and bring us in to the Ma'ariv service.
All right, so back from 142, we're going to go to Lecha Dodi on page 138. Temple Sinai Custom suggests 1, 2, 5, and 9. Some say Temple Sinai Custom insists 1, 2, 5, and 9. So that's what we'll follow tonight. Lecha Dodi, let's sing. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'ribur echad, hishmi'anu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'l'tiferet v'l'tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mekerem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machsheva tehila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, Kiva ore humi uri 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 shir daberi kevod Adonai alaich nigla lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabila. Verse 9, rise in body or in spirit if you're able. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvtzohola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabila. Lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabila. Stay risen. And we turn to the formal call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 146. We ask ourselves, am I awake? Am I prepared? So let's sing together from wherever you are, Florida or beyond. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Sing it now. Yada die die die. 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 All right, you may be seated. And now our next prayer is going to be on page 148, the Ma'ariv Aravim. And this is an absolutely haunting melody by Steve Dropkin. Let's see, I'm going to go grab my mayim, my water. I got to go off screen for just a second there, but this melody by Steve Dropkin, we are so grateful for his music, for this beauty of the lines and the harmonies and everything. So I hope that if you know this one, you'll sing along, or even if you don't know the words, go ahead and sing Yai Dai Dai. That's going to be just fine as well. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai Dai 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 Dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim ma'ariv aravim בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את כוכבים במשרותיכם ברקיע כרצונו Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Borei yom v'layla golel or mi מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
We turn now in our Sidorim to page 150 for Ahavat Olam. Please chant this with me. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'vatachal hasir mimenu l'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. We now turn in our Siddur to page 152 for the Shema. If it is your custom to rise for the Shema, please do so at this time. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. If you are standing, please take a seat as we turn to page 154 for Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. We now turn to a prayer that is asking for God's sheltering presence over us and over all of those on earth who are most in need of such presence, with the Hashkivenu prayer, ending with Hapores Sukkot Shalom, page 160. Cantor Jake leads us. Hapores Sukkot Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo, ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
In a moment, we will come to the Tefillah, the time of our prayer service that is the apex of every service, in which we have the opportunity to address the divine personally as well as communally. We'll start off communally, and then we will come to a time of silent prayer and meditation. And I suggest that you use this however you see fit for your own feeling of calm and centeredness and peace. I'd like to offer this poem as a kavanah, as an intention to this prayer tonight. It is called Your Name, and it is from Alden Solovey. God of old, your name is peace. Your name is justice. Your name is mercy. God of life, your name is compassion. Your name is love. Your name is hope. God of blessing, your name is truth. Your name is wisdom. Your name is righteousness. God of our fathers, God of our mothers, your name is in my heart and before my eyes. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name shines throughout creation. We rise now for the Tefillah.
Ananananana Adonai. Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai. Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot Va'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Zurat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
At this time in our service, we think of those who are ill and in need of healing. This could be healing of mind, body, spirit, or of all three. And so if you are thinking of someone at this time who is in need of healing, please say their name out loud or their names out loud at this time. And so now we're going to share the names of those whom we know are in need of healing in our congregation and friends and family of our congregants. And as we do so, we will sing the Misha Berach. If you know it, please join me. And we're going to put up the names of those who are in need of healing at this time.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach imotenu mekor habracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And we continue now with our Torah service. This is our opportunity to see Torah up close and personal as Cantor Jake chants from Parshat Toldot, this week's Torah portion. And we're going to share that screen right now. And let's call up as if we are in Aliyah. And if you so wish, please rise in spirit or in body for this Aliyah. Ya'amdu, please come up. Anyone who wishes to do so from our congregation and friends, Le'aliyah. Together we say the bracha. Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach. Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. Avraham holid et Yitzchak. Vayhi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. Bechachto et Rivka. בת בתואל הרמי, מפדן ארם אחות, לבן הארמי לא לאישה. ויתר יצחק לאדוני לנוכח אשתו, כי עקרה היא, ויעתה לו אדוני, ותהר רבקה אשתו. This is the story of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took the wife Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Padan Aram, sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac pleaded with the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was barren, and the Lord responded to his plea, and his wife Rebekah conceived.
Together we say the closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Misha beirach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed all our ancestors bless all of us who have come up today in honor of God, in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of our commitment to our sacred community. May the Holy One grant all of us good, long, healthy lives filled with joy, peace, and love in our homes, and success in all of our labors, along with all of our family, friends, and along with the entire house of Israel. And let us all say, Amen.
Just a moment here. Here we go. What is truth? This is a value that may be under siege at the moment in our society. Everything has become so polarized and politicized that the very notion of facts has become distorted. Every news channel and agency seems to have its own bias in reporting, and opinions are so interlaced with facts that they are often indistinguishable. I'm old enough to remember when the news was the news. It was shared in print on actual paper, distributed to households daily on our front porches, and was broadcast just a couple of times a day to watch on TV. If you missed it, you missed it. Unless, of course, you pre-programmed your VCR to record it, if you knew how to do that. There were no 24-hour-a-day news cycle broadcasts, and we trusted in names like Walter Cronkite to tell us what was going on in the world. And that's the way it was. No longer. If you turn from one news channel to another at any given hour of the day, the same event may be described in such a different way that it may seem like there are different versions of the facts. It seems like we are in alternate universes of what is truth. When I discuss this with my kids, they have told me that they believe that there are different facts, not opinions about how people feel about them, but what is actually occurring, the facts themselves. Moral relativism has turned into factual relativism, my own coined phrase there. But that is what it feels like. So what is the truth? I'm a student of Musar, as I've explained before in previous lectures and sermons. Musar is a Jewish way of exploring our inner spiritual life to grow spiritually. A new book was published this year by the CCAR called The Musar Torah Commentary, A Spiritual Path to Living a Meaningful and Ethical Life. And it is a compendium edited by Rabbi Barry H. Block, which includes essays on each portion of the Torah. This week's Torah portion is Toldot, and one of the essays in the book was written by Rabbi Lisa L. Goldstein, entitled Emet, Truth, Hidden and Revealed. Rabbi Goldstein acknowledges that Parshat Toldot is filled with the opposite of what we might search for in terms of life lessons, especially about the value of truth. As Rabbi Goldstein explains, this Torah portion is rife with falsehood and trickery, from the coercing of Esau into selling his birthright to Jacob for a pot of lentils, to Rebekah's instruction to Jacob that he disguise himself as Esau for his father's firstborn blessing, to Jacob's deception of his father. This is hardly behavior that we would think worthy of the recipient of God's holy covenant. This is not exactly an ancestor we would think we would like to emulate from his behavior in this Torah portion anyway. Rabbinic tradition is also, of course, troubled by this, and thus created midrash, rabbinic stories, demonizing Esau and elevating Jacob beyond the boundaries of the actual Torah text. Rashi actually goes so far as to change the punctuation of Jacob's lie to his father when he says, "I am your firstborn Esau," to read, "It is I, Esau, is your firstborn," so that it transforms Jacob's lie into truth. Why do we have a need for such gymnastics? It seems pretty clear from a plain reading of the Torah that many characters are lying and deceiving. How are we to understand this utter disregard for the midah, the spiritual characteristic of emet, truth? As Rabbi Goldstein notes, the truth about truth is that it is not always so simple. She expounds with a midrash about God creating the first human being. Rabbi Shimon taught that when the Blessed Holy One decided to create the first human, the ministering angels divided into opposing blocks, some of whom said that humans should not be created, while others said that humans should indeed be created. The angel of loving kindness and the angel of justice argued in favor of the creation of humans, who would strive to do acts of loving kindness and justice. But the angel of truth and the angel of peace disagreed. The angel of peace argued that humans would be entirely made up of conflict, and the angel of truth argued that humans would be entirely made up of lies. In response, the Blessed Holy One flung the angel of truth to the earth, whereupon all the other ministering angels gathered around and said, "But Master of all the worlds, is not truth your own seal? Raise truth back up from the earth." As Rabbi Goldstein says, the angel of truth, of course, speaks the truth. We humans are indeed entirely made up of lies. She proposes that it isn't our fault that we cannot recognize the full truth. As this midrash suggests, this is an integral part of how we were created. However, this midrash also suggests that there is a truth and that it is intrinsically connected directly to divinity as the divine seal. Getting back to our Torah portion, one way of understanding why Rebecca sets in motion the deception is that perhaps she believes she is acting according to God's plan. After all, God has told her that Jacob will be the son to lead. So perhaps there is truth underneath the lies, however hidden it may be. How are we to understand this juxtaposition between truth and deception? In Musar terms, we are to be careful to recognize truth from lies. We cannot control other people's choices, but we can choose to whom we will listen and pay heed. And we can choose what we convey to others. We acknowledge the human propensity to lie, but we also recognize that we are made in the image of the divine. If that image is sealed with truth, we must seek to bring more truth to the world. And in this way, we can bring more godliness into the world and lessen suffering. This is the ultimate goal of Musar and of Judaism as a whole. Perhaps this is also the ultimate goal of religion in general, bringing in the godly and decreasing others' suffering. On this Shabbat, may each of us consider how we may do that through our actions and our words. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with our concluding prayers, beginning with the Aleinu on page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
At this time, we think of those who are no longer with us, those whose yahrzeits occur at this time, those whose names are written on the plaques surrounding the sanctuary: Jack Abramson, Lester Berkeley, Robert R. Bright, George Brownstein, Donald Joseph Cotton, Lucille Crespin, Bernard Edish, Eva Feldman, Benjamin Lewis Freeman, David Gerstel, Jerome Gilbert, Robert Goodman, Anne Greenberg, Eva M. Hirschman, Ida Cass, Fred Cohn, Henry Mandler, Midge Mesnick, Samuel Musikant, Selma Schiffer, Carl Stephen Schnapp, Bernard Sloan, Leon Treister, Lena Truchell, Manny G. Wells, Seymour Widoff, Geraldine R. Wolfe, Mildred Zwiegenhaft, and Morris Zwiegenhaft. Others recalled at this time: Anna Albert, Sam Bass, Harry Bobis, Shirley Dinsky, Martin Drescher, Alvin Easton, Jack Erdl, Max Fleschner, Irving Garber, Mary Jeremiah, Morris Cowitz, Bessie Kramer, Norman Lasker, Philip Lehner, Renee Levy, Buddy Milden, Donald Oken, Ida and Sam Resnick, Bert Sickles, Goldie Sloan, Chazan Meyer E. Smith, Jerome Ira Solkoff, Carolyn St. John, Stephen Zagan, and Betty Feldman. We also observe the recent deaths of Jackie Leon, Sally Tenser, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Howard Schloss, and also my friend, classmate, and colleague, Rabbi Michael Micklin. Zichronam livracha, may their names be for a blessing. If I have not said a name of someone you are thinking of at this time, please say their name aloud now. And now we rise in solidarity with mourners everywhere and in memory of all of those who were murdered by the Nazis as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah be'alma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei dekudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, and to all who mourn among us in our community and in all communities of the world. And let us all say, Amen. Please take a seat as we conclude with a final song.
All right, so for those who have been following along, this one won't be in the book, but we have sang it many times before. So, Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and God willing, we will make it back into our sanctuary very soon. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham v'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata ve'ad olam. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.